Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer joins me today to discuss Glencore's sustainability reports, South Africa's potential role in the Congo potash project, and the debut of a game-changing fuel cell dozer. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Stephanie.
Now, Glencore has released its 117-page sustainability report with a focus on employee safety, water and energy reductions, and carbon emissions.
Yes, these sustainability reports are going to become more important. You can see them coming out of the majors, once a year, and they're taking a lot of attention because there are so many needs now in the operational areas. And you go to the frontier often when you go to the operational area. And one of the shocking points of this is that for the first time, they've introduced a modern slavery statement. Now, I don't think they've done that without observing what is happening in certain of their operational areas. And that's too horrific to contemplate. But you can see that there is a lot of artisanal mining, in the DRC and in Zambia as well. And perhaps around that is quite a worrying situation, because for them to introduce this, the chairman to introduce his first modern slavery statement, indicates that perhaps they're observing things that they need to report on very seriously, because they're talking about child labor, they're talking about human trafficking. It probably stems from observing some of these things within their areas. Hopefully not, but at least they are conscious of this potential watching brief that you've got to keep. Now, the artisanal mining aspect there can be quite problematic. It's widespread in some of these areas. And what the big challenge is for these global companies, these large multinational companies now, is to try to give another sustainable, autonomous option to people who are engaging in this out of necessity and sometimes, hopefully not, being forced to do so. Now, we can see that in parts of the DRC and in Zambia, Glencore has managed to bring people into cooperatives. In these cooperatives, they steer them into a new direction, but with the full consent of the people. It's no good imposing anything like this on those artisanal miners. They have to voluntarily want to come forward. And you see the 4,000 people that they've got in one center, cooperative center, half of them are women. And this can really change some of the atmosphere in these areas. You can see they are bringing people into beekeeping and livestock farming and dairy farming. They're trying to show them there are alternatives to this horrific artisanal mining which you are subjected to. Big consciousness going around creating business for communities, near mine communities, and also commitments saying we are going to employ local people wherever we can. We are going to procure from local business wherever we can. That could be a fantastic build-up for those areas, that they can move away from the historic and traditional way they've been living there and come into the business space. And there are a lot of exciting stories as you get the sense coming out of there that people then have got a business going. And what these big mines do is they also offer off-take. So, if these people have got a dairy produce, they will take that or part of it so that it can give them a cash flow. But you can see from the reports that those new incipient businesses, they want to go beyond the local area, which is great. They want to go into the towns around them. They want to go into the bigger space. So there could be some fantastic stories coming out of these areas, but obviously patience is required.
Now, tell us about the potash mine in the Republic of Congo and what could be procured from South Africa.
We're talking about food security now a lot, and so you can see a focus on potash. Now, we saw BHP Billiton in Saskatchewan. They wanted that Jansen project to go ahead. That has been quite a problematic project for them. And you see in Saskatchewan, there's also one-channel marketing. So I don't know how the world accepts that. I don't think they'd accept it from South Africa. If we had to say, we've got one-channel marketing, all our platinum is going through one channel, can you imagine? They'd say, we've got some sort of a monopoly here. What are we trying to do? Fiddle the prices. They say nothing to the Canadians. The Canadians just allowed to go along with single-channel marketing that breaks every probably trading rule in the book of the Western world. How they get away with it, I don't know. But even though BHP Billiton was going to go with that Jansen project, you can see the cost level, the operating cost level of that Jansen mine is nothing like they're talking about here in the Republic of Congo. And we must distinguish there, it's not the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's the Republic of Congo. And this company, which is listed on 3 exchanges, including the Johannesburg Stock Exchange now, is Core Potash. And it's led by some illustrious people who've done very well, on stock markets around the world. We see them bringing this forward as fast as they can, looking at the price models now, where you see the prices at the time when this project is due to start producing commercial potash. The prices are projected to be good, and that's always the way you should plan. When you've got a project, you sometimes do it when prices are down, but you must make sure that when your plants start producing, at least you're projecting better prices, which is what they're doing. But the big thing about it is that it's going to be so low cost. The operational cost is going to be so low. Perhaps not the capital cost for the initial capital cost to build it. The capex might not be that so low, but the opex is heading to be very, very low. And the position of the mine close to the coast is a big advantage. And also a lot of the potash in the world goes to Brazil. And they are really, from a shipping point of view, closer than probably any other potash producer, particularly new potash producer, to Brazil. So hopes are high for this. They are looking to initial debt capital, because when you're building the plant, you need to go to the export credit corporations like in South Africa and France and in UK, and they've been doing that. And hopefully the South African part of this will be significant. They see it as being significant. The initial consortium is very French orientated, and has to be, because you're going into a French-speaking Republic of Congo. You need to have people that are used to working in that environment. So that has been the starting point, where they bring in a consortium that is well aware of that. But perhaps the real strength of that consortium is working in oil and gas. And so this is where South Africa can play a part, particularly in the conveying systems. They're going to need some long conveying systems. We could really offer a lot of potential there, and the materials handling and the plant. A lot of engineering companies down here could really do a major offering to them. Hopefully they will. And with the backing of our export credit authorities, perhaps that procurement could be backed by credit funds, which means that initial debt of getting that plant going is also assisted by the various companies, the countries that are supplying in the projects. And then they will also have to go to the market to raise a lot of equity, and it's not going to be small, because they're talking about possibly $2 billion for the first Cola project. And this is a big area. It's going to go on for a long time. They've got tremendous cooperation, they say, from the Republic of Congo. Their convention that they've gone through there has been quick and it's been slick, and they're happy with it. And I think that the government of the Republic of Congo also wants this. So it's something that could go on. The operations could go on well beyond the lifetime of some of the executives. So they're looking to also do something for the communities there, as all mining companies worth anything do these days. They make sure that the country benefits, that the people around the country benefit, and they've got that same attitude. But I hope also South Africa benefits, and the sense is that it will. But of course, a lot of water has to still flow under the bridge.
And lastly, a fuel cell dozer that runs on hydrogen carried in liquid is expected to make a game-changing debut in 2019.
I'm so happy about this, because we want fuel cell development, because it helps platinum. The catalyst inside those fuel cells is platinum. And so if we have a situation where even the mining of platinum is done by platinum catalyzed dozers, it's so appropriate. And I think that South Africa should have started a long time ago to try and get those vehicles operating underground, working on fuel cells. But one of the fears was that that hydrogen that they needed would be explosive. And they all think Hindenburg and, the tragedy of the Hindenburg. But the Germans have come through with a new way of carrying that hydrogen, where you carry it in liquid. and you carry it, in this case, in drums that last for several days for one dozer. So it looks like a very appropriate technology, because you won't have all those fumes underground that you have with diesels. You won't have that heat. You won't have that noise. You know, there's so many advantages. And then platinum companies will all be able to say, look at these fuel cells, how well they work. Come and have a look. Hopefully this will spread into places like China, and already Japanese are very keen on it. Germans are keen. Californians are keen. Parts of Britain have vehicles running on fuel cells. This is the most appropriate solution to the world's dirty air. You know, there's no environmental baggage that comes out of a fuel cell. And in fact, you know, the platinum itself isn't even consumed, so it gets recycled. And that's why the marketing effort of platinum has to be so great, because it's not something that's consumed during its use. So you want to expand that market all the time. And if China now, we've got this dozer possibly coming underground in Amplat's mines in a year or so. Imagine if China goes ahead with more big trucks and buses that are fuel cell driven, and trams. Already, you know, in the half year, we haven't had any other figures since then, but 18,000 trucks with fuel cell power were introduced into Beijing. Now, people who come out of Beijing say that that's a godsend, because, you know, you have got this environmental problem there. The air pollution is excessive, and so big trucks like that can't come in during the day because it adds to the pollution. They can come in the day if they've got fuel cells, which is one of the big selling points there. And hopefully China will embrace this. If they do, it'll mean the price of these fuel cells will come down. But you've got to have hydrogen infrastructure. And if you've got trucks doing a certain route, that's easy, because you know that they can travel a certain distance. They'll be back at the base to refuel with hydrogen. And once, you know, you've got your trucks going on fuel cells, you've got your buses going on fuel cells, your trams and your trains, then it'll be just extending that hydrogen infrastructure to get the cars going again. And that'll be the final big coup for fuel cells, which also should be used in the air of planes. So there could be a major big breakthrough for these. All we hear about are electric vehicles, the EV. They don't use many of our metals and minerals, but the fuel cell uses our platinum. So we want the FCEV, the fuel cell electric vehicle, and this dozer is showing that it can be done.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.